pastor, and he sang, my mother sang in church.
It's a long way from Stevens, Arkansas, to Le Théâtre des Champs-Élysées in Paris. But when Barbara Hendricks sings, it does not seem such a surprising journey. Has not always been as clear as her soprano voice, however. In fact, she earned a degree in mathematics and chemistry before deciding to make music her life.
Of course, I got into Juilliard on a scholarship solely on talent, because I had no musical education, so I started a bachelor's degree from scratch.
At Juilliard, Barbara Hendricks was taken under the wing of the mezzo-soprano Jenny Turrell.
What was great about her was the fact that she was there to serve her art. And I just felt like I was being passed on something that was very, very rare. I tried in many ways to replace her by teachers, by conductors. And after a while, I realized that my own destiny was to become my own master, which was very difficult, very, very scary and very lonely. But in the meantime, the reward it has given me is that I stand on stage and represent myself.
And Barbara Hendricks has always had a very clear and individual inner voice as well. A voice that counseled her to marry Swedish-born Martin Engström and to move to Europe, where she has become a superstar. Her face adorns the cover of fashion magazines. She seems to be everywhere on European television.
Pour moi, je crois la chose la plus importante d'abord, c'est de communiquer avec le public.
And a recent poll indicated that she is one of the women French women would most like to be.
The French people over the years have really adopted me as one of theirs, and there are many, many singers who are as popular, if not more popular, but I can be immodest and say that there are very few who have that kind of familial affection. They really treat me like a member of the family.
Barbara Hendricks may feel like part of the family in France, but she is very much an American. She doesn't visit this country very often, but when she does, she makes the most of it.
I don't consider myself in the least bit as an expatriate, because all those years I lived in America are part of who I am, and without that I wouldn't be who I am.
Although Barbara Hendricks has won critical acclaim with all the major opera companies in the world, she did not make her operatic debut in this country until 1986, when she sang the role of Sophie in Der Rosenkavalier at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. Barbara Hendricks and Martin Engström now live in Switzerland, where their house is filled with a chorus of other voices. Voices belonging to 10-year-old Sebastian, 7-year-old Jenny, and the dog Figaro.
Having children, and mine are pretty, of course, wonderful and intelligent and funny. But they're very funny, and they really sort of put me in my place sometimes. I remember once being very upset that no one was paying attention to me because I'd been sick, and I was complaining that I was taking care of everybody and nobody was taking care of me. And I said, I'm going to bed now. And a few minutes later, my daughter came up to me and said, you know, Mommy, that's what it is, having kids. Like, you know, assume your responsibility, that's it. I live in a country that is quiet and clean and calm and beautiful. But my life has not always been that way. I mean, my parents had to worry about food to feed us, and growing up in the 60s in Arkansas was not the easiest place, but there was always someone who was worse off than I. And I think that keeps you looking out into the world instead of closing yourself and looking inward.
Looking out into the world has made Barbara Hendricks a passionate campaigner for human rights. Last month, she came to Washington to sing for one of her heroes, Czechoslovakian President Václav Havel, at the request of President and Mrs. Bush.
And for those of us for whom the protection, promotion, and defense of human rights is going to be the basis of the New World Order, President Havel, you represent a shining example of courage and integrity.
And Barbara Hendricks acts on her beliefs. As a goodwill ambassador to the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, she has visited refugee camps in Zambia, Thailand, and Malaysia.
I would find it difficult to face myself if I didn't do something. I look at humanity as a sort of a human body whose nervous system, unfortunately, is a little bit out of order because we stop feeling each other. And I really think that when a child is in pain somewhere in the world, we should say, ouch. At those most important moments in my life, and particularly at that last moment, I'll only have one person to answer to, and it will not be my public, nor my family, nor my children. I mean, you make that passage by yourself, I think, and it's really to that I look more than anything else, as to whether or not I can look back on what I have done and say I have really done my best to be true to who I am.